Greetings to you all. I hope you guys had a great week. It is Friday here in Columbus, Ohio. This has been a fast week. Very, very, very fast. It went by quick. It was just Sunday. Anyway, I'm doing excellent. I've been busy this week, but today's video will be a response, and this response will be from my buddy Frederick Rasmussen. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. My buddy here, he's from Norwegia, I believe. If I'm not correct, sorry about that. But here's your question. You left me this message on my Facebook. When was this? May 9th. So I was unable to get to it right away because I was busy, but here it is. So as usual, I'm going to read your question, and then I'm going to transition over to another video and give my thoughts and my response. So, messing around with Cantonese lately. Got the complete Cantonese course which you reviewed on YouTube. Other than that, do you have any tips? Any thoughts when you began to take up on this language already knowing Mandarin quite well? Did you feel that something in particular was awesome to do for a faster progress? By the way, looking forward to the next Mandarin Cantonese level up video. Alrighty, so here is my response. All right, Frederick, I hope you're doing well, sir. This is my response to your question. I'm sorry it was a bit of a late response, but here it is. I'm going to give you guys some history. Just, I always like to share history, my experiences with certain things. So I'm going to do that here while I give my response. But I have 3 books here. I have the complete Cantonese. I have this is the very first Cantonese course. By the way, I'm going to get to this. I'm just showing you all the books that I have. Then this Cantonese course here. Okay. So we have 3. There you have it. Now, I'm going to start with this one. I'm going to give you guys some history. I talked about this before in some previous videos. But this is the very first Cantonese course I had. Like, this is the very, very first course. And for many of you who don't know, Cantonese was actually the original language I wanted to learn over Mandarin. Mandarin wasn't even an option at first. I wanted to learn this. Hence, going out getting this book. You see how old this book is? You know when I bought this book? I got this book back in 99. Actually, it may have been 98. 98, 99. Somewhere, I think, yes. Maybe it was 99. Yeah, it was 90, it was about 99, early 99. I bought this book. And look, it's beat up. I didn't go through the whole book, but I'll show you some things here. This brings back memories. Look at this. You see that? Characters written in there. That's when I started learning how to write Chinese. Like, I was just writing characters all over the place. This was the beginning stages. But when I look at this. This is when the madness was beginning. But anyway, I'm gonna go through some of the chapters that I went through when I first got this book. I didn't go through the whole book. So look, here's chapter 1. I started with this one, and I was underlining things, as you can see. I don't know. Don't ask me why I did that. That was just part of my studying. I just like to underline things when I went through them. That was that's chapter 1, and that's dealing with encounters. Very useful material, by the way. And then you have a grammar section, which I really didn't bother with. I did go through the vocabulary just to, go through and match up with the dialogue. And then you had a second dialogue here. And this is still chapter 1, by the way. And there's more grammar. So I believe I got up to 4 chapters. I'm going to just show you. That's chapter 2, again. That's dealing with personal property. Vocabulary section is some grammar. There's dialogue 2. See that? I was really working through this. I wasn't joking around. Numbers. Okay, and that's chapter 3. More work. Grammar. And that's family actually. Yeah, that's family. Dialogue 2. Grammar. And chapter 4, I think this is where I stopped. When I started, when I started to realize this is chapter 4, grammar section, vocabulary. So yeah, chapter 4, and this is dialogue 2. So that's where I stopped. When I got to chapter 4 and I listened, I had an audio course. Now, at that time, this course only had the cassette. So I had an actual cassette player when I was listening to this, which is more difficult. So I listened to the dialogues, and I was just a regular language learner. I didn't have a strategy. I didn't have a method or anything. I just went and got this book and started from chapter 1 and say, okay, I'm gonna listen to the dialogues, go to the grammar section, or not grammar section, go to the vocabulary, match it up with the dialogue, and that's what I did for 4 chapters. And then once I got to chapter 4, I started to feel that I wasn't really making progress because I couldn't really have like a conversation. I could say some stuff in Cantonese, but it was out of context. As you saw, there was like personal property, there's some encounters, which was very useful. I only knew that stuff. So um, I remember I was somewhere and I ran into a native speaker of Cantonese and I was trying to practice with them, and I only knew that stuff. I was just, for ngõ my ngõ make walk chair or something like that. That stuff. I want to sell my American car. I mean, that's just out of context, and I was just practicing that just to see how they would react, and they were laughing and stuff. But it wasn't like a normal conversation. I just couldn't do that. But so I felt that I wasn't making progress with this course, on top of meeting native speakers of Mandarin telling me that Cantonese is useless. They told me that Cantonese is useless. I should learn Mandarin. It will be a better choice. So it didn't help maintain my motivation to continue with this. So I dropped this. I just put this away, and I went to the store and I searched for Mandarin material, and I noticed that they had way more material than Cantonese. Again, when I went to look for Cantonese material, this is the only course I found. So due to the fact that they had more resources for Mandarin, I said, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and just start learning Mandarin. I had a phrase book, came with this really good phrase book, came with audio, and then I got a conversational. It was like this, but it was thinner, but it had some conversational stuff in there. So I just started with that, and I started learning those phrases, and I just, that's what I did for Mandarin, and I just maintained it. And I was meeting a lot of native speakers to practice with. So I dropped Cantonese. Um, so that was my very first course. I just wanted to give you guys some history of that. So that's the very first course I got for Cantonese. Now, I started Mandarin, and then I spent 2 years. I spent a solid 2 years going through, my books of Mandarin, learning, just studying the language. And then it wasn't until I started learning Mandarin in 99, 2001, and that's when I moved. Let's see, 99, yeah, 99, 2000. Yeah, it's like early 2001 is when I moved to Columbus. Around that time is when I like stopped studying Mandarin. I was just basically using the language, and I still didn't start Cantonese. I didn't start Cantonese until like, wow, when was this? I think it was 2000. I don't even remember. I think it may have been 2010 or 11. Was it 10, 11, 12? I think it was 2010 when I started doing Cantonese. It was either 2010, 2011, but I know I spent 2 years doing this, going through Cantonese. Um, and when I started Cantonese, I got this course. Now it's the same content. Same content as the one I showed you, but it was updated. And I went through this whole book. So some of the stuff at the beginning, like as I showed you, 1 to 4, I already understood because I told you when I first got the other book, I went through 4 chapters. So I went through this whole course, and I think I did it twice. I listened to the audio, went through all the sections. I mean, obviously there's going to be some things in here that I didn't use. I didn't, there's still stuff in this book that I haven't really used with native speakers, but when I hear it or I see it, I understand it. It's definitely in my passive bank. But I went through this course twice, okay? And I would say it's a good course. It's a really good course. The only thing is if you don't have a plan, a good plan, and when I say a good plan, I mean to um, like when you're wanting to speak with native speakers, it's going to be difficult to really start getting into like some good conversation with natives working just through this course um, only. It's going to be difficult because of the content. Like I said, it's a good course. I used it, but at the same time, I had a plan on how to use this course. Okay, so this was the course I got for Cantonese, and I would say you asked me what was some awesome things that helped me that I learned that helped me progress through the language, so Cantonese. I would say having a Mandarin background for one is really good because first of all, the grammar is the same. If you have a strong foundation in Mandarin and you start Cantonese, the grammar is going to make sense to you right off the bat. So if you start Cantonese from a grammatical, you know, aspect, it won't be difficult because you already understand it. So definitely the grammar is similar and it's more motivation to keep you going with the language. What else? The vocabulary. Now, many people say that it's a dialect of Mandarin, but it's Cantonese is not mutually intelligible with Mandarin. It's very different. Although you have similar grammar and you have some similar vocabulary and similar idioms, but if you hear Cantonese, if I'm a native speaker of Mandarin and I haven't studied Cantonese and I hear someone speaking in the language, I'm not going to be able to really understand it. I may be able to pick out some vocabulary, but I'm not going to be able to understand it mutually. It's not going to be something like if I'm Portuguese and I listen to Spanish people speak, it's not going to be like that. Those two languages aren't that close. Okay. So I would say vocabulary, it helps because some vocabulary you'll be able to pick up. Um, what else? The grammar and the characters. Now, Cantonese uses the traditional characters. So they use traditional characters on top of having their own set of traditional characters that native speakers of Mandarin don't know. They will see the character and say, "Oh, I don't know what that means." That's how Cantonese is. But for the most part, a lot of the characters are the same. So if you can read traditional Chinese, you will pick it up. As you can see here, they have this traditional here. Okay, so like for example, you see ho loi mo ging, see this mo, that's a native character of Cantonese. They don't even use this character in Mandarin. So stuff like that you will come across, you see. But for the most part, the characters are the same. You'll be able to make out what's being said in a text like that. Um, So I would say if you could read traditional characters, um, it will give you a boost for learning the Cantonese characters. So I would say that is what I found interesting, which I mean I expected that since it's they're considered dialects. But yeah, that and then like I said, Cantonese was the language that I originally want to learn before Mandarin. So I was already motivated to learn Cantonese. Bruce Lee, and I used to watch a lot of kung fu movies, and they used primarily Cantonese. A lot of times you want to hear Cantonese when you watch those movies. So I already had my motivation there to learn Cantonese. So after learning Mandarin, and then I went to Kenya and said, okay, wow. So okay, I've seen this before. Is this grammar pattern is the same as Mandarin. So yeah, that was one thing. Now, for faster progress, I will honestly have to say one of the things that really helped me to progress faster in the language is going out speaking with natives, leveling up. When I started going out leveling up, that's when I really started learning things faster. The words started to come faster, and it makes sense because I'm training my spoken. That's what happens. I had a lot of passive, but I had to train my spoken. So I didn't really start learning more and how to speak more until I got out there and started practicing with those native speakers. But other than that, that's really it. Just having a background in Mandarin and getting out there practicing with native speakers. Those two things will be enough for you to progress fast in the language. So that's it. That's pretty much it. Oh, and I forgot. This is the newest version of the Teach Yourself Cantonese. Same content. It's the same content, and I believe this is the course that you got. So as I said, this is a good course, great course, and again, if you have a background in Mandarin and you start with this course, you should be all right. You'll start to see some similar patterns, and you'll be able to put stuff together and have conversation. But if you're a complete beginner, you haven't learned Mandarin before, and you start with this, then it's going to be fun to go through this course. But at the same time, if you're looking to converse with someone after like a month or even after a couple weeks or so, you even 2 months or 3 months, you're not going to be able to do that. That's just the truth because of the content. You will build up a lot of passive vocabulary, but in terms of having a conversation, you're not going to be able to do that yet. It may take a longer time. Oh, it will not may it will take a longer time to do that until you're able to do that. So that is it. This is my response from my buddy Frederick. Again, I apologize for the late response. I hope this was useful for you, and I'm glad to hear that you're taking on this Cantonese, man. It's a great language. It's just as widely spoken as Mandarin. I mean, it really is. There's a lot of native speakers of this language, a lot. And if you guys have watched my level of videos, you've seen that how many natives, how many opportunities there are for practicing this Gondonwa. Hai mai, hai mai. All right, all right. That's it. Thanks for viewing the video. If you guys have any other questions, let me know. And I'm working on my next level of video. I should have it out here soon. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, thanks for viewing, and you guys have a great Friday. Have a great weekend.